I don't know why, but men are delusional and they think that women think it's attractive when they have a lot of experience or when they have a past. Listen, I can't speak for every woman, but for me personally, it's disgusting. I don't know why. I don't know what's wrong with me, but the moment I find out that a man has like a lot of experience or he has a past or like he fiends over other women and like he's just I lose all interest. All interest. I feel it in my stomach.
Even though I should be giving people the benefit of the doubt when I'm reacting to content like this, I immediately want to call cap on everything she's got to say. In the spirit of fairness, though, I'm not going to do that. To get to the point, though, men aren't delusional when they say that women are attracted to guys who have a sexual past or have a lot of experience. It's called pre-selection, and it's not just something women do when it comes to men. It's something we all do. When a guy has experience, and he's generally good with women, he can make them feel safe whenever they're around him. And he'll most likely be able to trigger that thing in them that makes them want to get into bed with the dude at their earliest convenience. Now, if a guy's boasting about the women he's been with and all that, it's not really a good look. But if a woman stumbles across this information on her own, it's much more likely to help his game than hurt it, especially if the women she discovers are super attractive. Anyway, while it's true that men who are desired by other women tend to become even more attractive, that doesn't apply to everyone. So maybe she is the type to get disgusted by guys who have a lot of experience. Let's find out.
Min Gilby, I feel the disgust. What do you mean you have a body and you're flexing it? Get away from me. And a lot of guys are like, oh, like if he's the right man, like you won't care about. Nope, I still will care. I don't know why. It just disgusts me. You could be fucking Toji in the flesh, Lloyd Forger in the flesh. If you have a body, I swear to God, you are disgusting to me. You've had your first kiss? Wallahi, I wouldn't touch you with a 10-foot pole. Or like even worse, like they think if like they have a lot of women coming after them and desiring them, like they think women like that. And listen, like I said, I don't know about other women, I can only speak for myself. But when I see a man gets a lot of attention from other women, it just disgusts me. Like I don't want you. It just icks me out so from my core. Like you've held hands with another woman before?
Yeah, like I said, if a guy's showing off his body count, it's not attractive, and it's much better if a woman comes across this information on her own. While it's not exactly the same thing, it gives off the same cringy vibe as men who lead with their money and deliberately try to impress a woman with it. Rather than telling a woman you've got a nice house or a nice car, let her discover that shit on her own. There's no need to scream about it from the top of your lungs. I wonder if something happened in her past. Maybe she dated a guy who got a lot of attention from women, and that guy ended up cheating on her. Who knows? She even said that if the guy has a body, he's disgusting to her. So by that, does she mean that if a guy's hooked up with just one chick, he doesn't stand a chance? If that's the case, this whole thing is kinda unrealistic. Unless, of course, she's after the kind of dude that no woman has ever wanted it.
Wallah, get away from me. Get away from me. I want him hustless with no experience. I want him just for me. That's what I want. I don't find it attractive that you have had experience with other women. That's not cute. You disgust me. Like really, you disgust me. Like I just oof. When I look at you, I go oof. Oof. And by the way, wallah, it has nothing to do with the fact like, oh, like I'm looking down on you or like I'm being arrogant or like you're shameful. No, I don't care what you've done. You could have like 100 bodies for all I care. That's not my business. But if you're my man, you better not have anything, otherwise you're disgusting. Like from an attractive perspective, like I'm not attracted to you anymore. That's it. Like it has nothing to do with like, oh, like I'm looking down. No.
It sounds like she wants a guy who doesn't have any experience at all. So what she'd be looking for is a virgin. Which brings me back to what I said at the start of this video. I bet this is all cap, or simply not a serious video at all. And if I'm being honest, I'm leaning towards the latter. Still, there is a possibility that she's being 100% truthful here. But I'll leave that up to you guys to figure out, so let me know in the comments.
Where are the normal people? In my case, I mean like normal guys to date. I feel like I'm just normal. I don't do anything crazy. I'm just like a good person. I like to do fun things. I'm kind. Sure, I have a TikTok or whatever, but like in general, I'm pretty normal. I feel like all my friends growing up were really normal. It's like, where are the normal people? I just want like a normal guy. But everyone seems to have some sort of mega red flag or some like just strange trait that is a turn off to me. I don't know. Like maybe I am too picky. I don't think I am. It's like, where are they? Like, where are you guys?
Sometimes I have to think to myself, is it really that hard to find a normal guy? Maybe this is one of those instances where I'd have to be a woman for a week to actually see what it is they're struggling with when it comes to finding a guy to settle down with. She mentioned at the end that she might be too picky when it comes to men, so it would have been interesting if she talked about what she was looking for in a man and what sort of things would turn her off. If all the men she seems to date have mega red flags, it kinda suggests to me that her filtering when it comes to guys isn't the best. It's also no secret that more and more guys are checking out of the dating game these days, so maybe that's where all of the normal guys have run off to. Anyway, you know I had to see what the vibe was in the comments.
Nobody wants me. I don't smoke, drink, and wait till marriage. I'm too boring for others, so I just go out to eat by myself and just wonder when it's my turn.
I think normal people get overlooked on the apps because they aren't the people coming up with big one-liners in response to prompts. They'd rather just talk like a normal human being.
Just at home doing normal stuff.
Yeah, man. If women are really out there wanting these normal guys, they're gonna have to come up with a way to get them out of the house.
Ladies in your 20s, you might think my story of having a baby at 47 has nothing to do with your young life, but let me tell you how every part of it does. I bought into friends with benefit. I did what's called dating beneath myself. That's what my best friend at the time told me. I came from a good family, had my college degrees, had traveled and filled up my passport book, and yet I was dating a weed head. I dated a drug dealer twice. I dated drug dealers. Why would I do that in my 20s? Wasting myself, knowing that these were not husband materials, knowing it was just fun and games.
This whole friends with benefits thing is a trap for a lot of women, especially if they're thinking that something more is gonna come out of giving their cheeks up to some dude who only wants to pass the time. The thing is though, we're living in an era where people like to prioritize fun over stability and short-term feelings over long-term outcomes. The whole thing about her dating drug dealers is something that's always being talked about in the black community because a lot of the time, women will have kids with these guys, and years down the road, some other dude will be expected to step in and become a father figure. Of course, we all know that dating the Pookies and Ray Rays is exciting, and it's usually an emotional roller coaster for young women, and despite how toxic that shit can be, they love it, but if they're not careful, it can set them up for a lifetime of failure. What this woman's talking about right here is that she ignored the guys who would have helped build her up in life and instead gave herself to men who destroyed her, which to be honest, is pretty damn tragic.
It wasn't until my 30s that I actually started to come correct and work on my personal character. But you don't have to wait to work on your personal character. Don't buy into society norms of it's okay to sleep around. It's okay to smoke weed and drug your body, having toxic relationships, being around people that make you want to fight, do ugly things. This is how you can waste your time and waste your fertility and wind up not having a baby until far later in life. Take care of yourself. Take care of your body. Be selective with your heart, your mind, your soul, and your private parts. You live a good life starting today.
Now, while this is an extreme version of what guys often talk about online, it's a prime example of the nice guy finishing last. It was only after she'd had all her fun and all the damage was done that she felt like settling down with someone stable, working on her mental, and making better life decisions. Luckily for her, in her mid to late 40s, she was able to have a kid, but unfortunately, this won't be the outcome for everyone. I can bet you that young women aren't going to give a damn about this message because everyone has main character syndrome and thinks everything's always going to work out for them in life, which just isn't the case. Honestly, I can't fault anything she's saying, so we can only hope her message is heard and properly received by at least a few women.
I don't get it, you guys. I don't get it. I literally went on a date with this guy the other day. I thought it went so well. Like, literally kissed, everything. He asked me on a second date. I was like, slay. She's in her, like, slay single era. Like, everyone wants me. And then haven't heard from him since. And, like, honestly, for the first time, I'm actually good single, but like, that's brutal. That's seriously brutal. Cause like, I'm the skinniest, I'm the hottest, I'm the fucking happiest I've ever been. And like, yeah, I'm not, what's wrong? Like, I'm flabbergasted. I am flabbergasted. I'm just finding men these days, all they want is to be like a pillow princess. Like, they don't want to they don't want to work. Like, they don't even want to try. Like, I give up. I actually give up. I'm taking a break from dating. This is it. I'm done.
Whenever you hear stories like this, you've always got to wonder what details they left out of it. When she did start this thing though, she kinda sounded like she was a bit full of herself, talking about how everyone wants her, but for whatever reason, this guy didn't get the memo. She seems completely shocked by the fact that a guy didn't want her because she looks and feels good about herself. But there's obviously something missing from this equation, since my man felt the need to bounce like that. In my mind, he either got the cheeks and didn't want to hear from her again, or she really wasn't that fun to be around. I've only been listening to this video for a few minutes and my ears are already bleeding. I imagine that if this guy was someone who didn't have many options, he'd reach out to her 100%. But since this guy's willing to cut ties so quickly, I have to assume that getting another attractive woman isn't an issue for him. This was another one of those clips that I had to dive into the comments section for, so let's get into it.
After listening to you for 15 seconds, I wouldn't come back either. Sorry.
Why are we all going through the same thing? I literally liked myself 3 weeks ago before I met him, and now he lives rent-free in my head.
There is nothing wrong with you, girl. He just couldn't handle your fabulousness.
Most of the comments on this clip were just other women showing her support and talking about how amazing she is, which I don't understand how they could possibly know that just from watching her videos. While it's not entirely a bad thing to talk someone up, it can also stop them from working on any flaws they might have, so it pays to be honest. Being honest can help people make changes that'll lead to them having and enjoying a more fulfilling life.
I went on a date last night, and every time I go on a date, it just makes me more and more grateful for the choices that I made in my life up to this point. I just started seriously dating again after, in January. I took a long hiatus. I didn't really date anyone seriously last year.
First things first, when people say things like they haven't really dated anyone seriously for X amount of time, it doesn't mean they're not getting their backs blown out. So if you meet a woman who says this kind of thing to you, don't immediately start assuming that she was sitting at home waiting for someone like you to stumble into her life.
It took a while to recover from how traumatized 2023 made me. And this guy was tall, he has a good job, he's attractive, he owns property, he seemed like he had everything going for him. But we were talking and I was just we are just not compatible. Because I was talking to him and he's basically well, what's your priority right now in your life? And I'm I'm my priority. What do you mean? What else would my priority be? My job and growing and myself, I'm my priority. And he was telling me how all of his friends have kids and he's one of the only single people. And I was how old are you? And he's 33. I was that's crazy because every single one of my, I hardly know anyone married. I would say way more of my friends are single, maybe in relationships, casual relationships. I know very few married people, but even that, no one has kids. No one I went to college with has kids. The only people I know that have kids are people from my hometown.
To me, it sounds like she's got a lot of baggage from whatever she was dealing with back in 2023. And I only say that because she feels the need to still bring it up all this time later. From how she's describing this date, I get the vibe that while he's looking for something more rather than a situationship thing, that's not what she's on. At the moment, she seems to be all about herself, but seeing as all of her date's friends and whatnot are moving on with their life, he's feeling like it's time to put down his own roots, which at the age of 33 is fair enough, as long as he doesn't jump into something with a woman he's not really compatible with. I don't know how old the woman is in this video, but if I had to guess, I'd say she was nearing or in her early 30s too. And if that's the case, if she does want to have a family one day, maybe she should start dating with more serious intentions. Of course, that's not what everyone wants for their life, but if it is something she desires, the clock's ticking and it's not going to wait for anyone. The fact that she doesn't know many people in her life who are married or have kids tells me that the people in her life are all about excitement and having a good time, so building something with someone couldn't be further from their mind. Again, everyone's free to make their own decisions in life, but people should think carefully about their future before they completely rule out having or not having kids.
And he was well, yeah, my friends that have kids are my hometown friends, the friends I grew up with. And I was well, that kind of, checks out. I was I associate with very few people from my hometown just because that's not a life I want to live. I would never trade lives with those people. And I literally said to him at the end of the date, I was I had a good time with you, but I really don't think we're going to be compatible. Getting married and having kids is not anything that I'm interested, honestly, anytime soon, because frankly, most of those people do not seem all that happy.
Well, she said it. All she wants to do is have a good time and live her best life. And the people she does know who are married aren't that happy with their lives, which is part of the reason she doesn't want to settle down anytime soon. But how long is she willing to wait? The way she described this guy earlier on made it sound like he's someone who's stable, successful, and wants to build something, which sounds like the kind of guy a lot of women will kill for. I wonder if she'll regret not giving this guy a chance 10 years from now if she doesn't meet someone similar. The video I reacted to earlier with the 47-year-old woman who regretted wasting her 20s kinda sounds like the position this creator might find herself in down the road.
Like, I would say my single friends are some of the happiest people I've ever met, and especially the ones with kids. I mean, I don't want that. But I did think it was really interesting how, like, both situations, the hometown people who didn't necessarily go to college and then versus the college people, like, all those people were married and had kids, like, at a very early age. And then all the people who were from, like, college friends, none of them were in that situation. Like, some of them were, some of my friends are dating, but barely any of them are married. And even if they are married, they're married to people that they've been with for like 8, 10 plus years. Like, those are the people that are married.
From what I know, it makes sense that her friends who went to college and all that don't have kids or a life partner, as career-driven people tend to put this off until they feel like they're ready, which in some cases could be never. I do find it interesting that she keeps comparing herself to the friends she had back home or the ones she met at college. I wonder, if her college friends started to settle down, would she do the same because she doesn't want to be left behind?
No one who's in recent relationships is married. Last night just really reinforced a lot of things for me, because hearing him say that, like, his idea of a fun night is staying at home, watching a movie, playing cards, and like hanging out with his 2 dogs. And I was just like, I have no interest in doing that. I'm so sorry, but like.
His idea of a fun night sounds kind of like mine. I did the whole party thing when I was living life in the fast lane. And honestly, I thought life would always be that way. I never imagined that it'd get boring one day, but here we are. I still have friends who like to do that on a regular basis, but personally, I'd rather kick back and relax. But if there's a barbecue going on, you can give me a call.
I do not want to go to your suburban house to sit around and play cards and hang out with your dogs. I want to be in the city, hang out with my friends. I'm like, yeah, one of my friends just opened a new bar in New York. Like, I'm going to go see him in a couple weeks. Like, this event and this event and this event. And I'm not staying home to play cards with you and your dogs. More and more every day, I just come down to the fact that I am so content with just being a fun aunt who, like, travels.
It sounds like she's still living life in the fast lane, but I wonder how long that'll last, because one day, that phone will stop ringing, and the people she's around today might not have time for her anymore. Because staying in doesn't give her that rush of excitement, she has no interest in it, which is fair enough. We all like what we like, but don't come back here in a few years asking where all the good men are.
And goes to cool events all across different big cities and the world, and continuing to grow my career and hopefully be really big in the field of my choice one day. And I'm so okay with that. I do not want to live a small life. I just, I physically cringed when that man said that. And that was like, okay, yep, I don't want, yep, that's what I want. And that's okay.
Yeah, settling down doesn't sound like something she has any interest in. And while the small life, as she called it, is something that makes her cringe, going through life partying all the time doesn't sound appealing to a lot of people either. So, is she wrong for wanting what she wants? No, she's not. But life at the end of the tunnel might not be everything she thinks it will be. Some people were going at each other's throats in the comments, and it's kind of what you'd expect from a video like this.
You could argue the endless events you go to are a small life. Just endless getting dolled up to impress people and interact with people who don't care about you. 2 sides to every coin.
Exactly. In my eyes, I see her life as small because I find enrichment to my life with my children and husband. Going out on endless dates seems like a small life with no fulfillment.
Are you trying to convince yourself of that?
Yep, they are.
You all are a bunch of haters who can't stand people living differently than you.
You see her life as small because you have nothing else going for you. You settled for a husband and kids. You're characterizing her life as small because she isn't a pick-me and has a lot going for her.
If you're insecure about the choices you've made, Just say that.
Good point. Your life is always a small, boring life to someone. Find what will make your life fulfilling to you and choose that path. This doesn't even make sense.
What about it doesn't make sense?
Endless events are her going out and meeting people and traveling and having a good time versus sitting at home watching Netflix with a dog.
Okay, and how many of those people at events do you ever see again? Like, yeah, sure it's fun, but you aren't spending time with someone you love, like a partner, kids, or yes, even your pets.
Can't speak for OP, but the events I frequent attract a similar crowd. This is how I built my friend group. And who's to say you can't go to these events with a significant other or meet your significant other at one? Done both.
I was just pointing out there are both sides.
Sounds like you're casting a lot of judgment on a lifestyle you don't understand and don't participate in.
Oh, almost like what the original poster is doing. That's my whole point. Two sides to the judgment can be easily done.
You were the one that got bent out of shape out of her correctly clocking someone not leaving their hometown and getting married young as a small life.
Yeah, it wasn't fair for her to say it's a small life. Judgmental of her.
Anyway, guys, what do you think about this? Let me know your thoughts in the comments.